On this episode of Special Spaces, we go inside a palace on the Hudson.
Welcome to Edgewater.
We'll walk through a private meadow in Manhattan.
It literally feels like the city's at your feet, but your soul's in the sky.
And climb trees in the Hamptons. But first, a superstar architect shows us how he made his apartment flow.
The water actually drops from more or less the headboard.
Architect David Ling has created restaurants, stores, and even remodeled part of the Guggenheim Museum. But when it comes to this space, he'd met his toughest client yet.
The space is sort of a portrait of myself. It's a space that's catered just to my personal craziness. And this leads to my cantilevered bed. I'm David Ling. I practice architecture here in New York. We're going over a bridge, which is the first kind of transition. There's 3 spaces. I work in the front, I kind of live in the middle, and I sleep upstairs. And each of these spaces are divided by light, water, and 2-story spaces, as opposed to walls and doors. This first transitional area is filled with these kind of little firefly lights. Pool of water here, which also contains my library. And now we come to the living area. Kitchen area here is this one continuous piece of cement. It's inspired by Stanley Kubrick's 2001 Space Odyssey, the monolith in the movie. Scattered throughout the space is also materials and models of projects that we've done. We're working on the Guggenheim, worked with Steve Wynn in Las Vegas, Aaliyah, the Blue Man Group. The back wall is one of my favorite blues. It's an ultramarine blue. The hanging cone here, which is cantilevered off the 2nd floor, and it's clad in galvanized metal. And then at the base of the blue wall is this pond of water. I love the reflection off the water. It casts this great aquatic and almost astronomical refraction of light that I love. This is a chaise longue that I designed. It's called the Reclining Nude. I wanted to create a contrast between old and new, rusticated and smooth, curved and straight, organic and rational, metallic and wood. And it's this dialogue that's important to me. This is the second transitional space between the living and the sleeping area, which is an open loft. To answer a question that isn't probably in many people's minds is, nobody's died, nobody's been injured. My cat survived the fall. So did my remote control, my lamp, and there were no fatalities. From the back of the bed is a waterfall. And so the water actually drops from more or less the headboard down into this upper pond area and then sort of flows around the living area and then falls into the library area. It gets filtered and then recycled. If you inhabit a space, it shouldn't look good just for the TV program and just for the magazines, but a person should be able to live and discover new things the entire time they inhabit the space.
Coming up, a Wall Street king takes us inside his columned castle. 90 miles north of Manhattan sits one of the grandest historic estates in America. It belongs to a Wall Street innovator who collects fine homes like others collect coins.
Some people call me a houseaholic. And I think I got an overdose of Gone with the Wind, which we all had to see as a kid growing up, and it's part of a heritage down south. My name is Dick Jenrette, and I have worked on Wall Street more or less for the past 50 years. Probably spent more time in the last 15 years on historic preservation. Came across this house, Edgewater, 43 years ago, and bought it on a whim for $125,000. Welcome to Edgewater. It belonged to Gore Vidal, the author, and I surreptitiously drove down the driveway and got out and walked down and saw the columns. Was quite smitten and fell in love with the house. As you might surmise, this is the drawing room. All this furniture was made by Duncan Fife in probably around 1820. We have the obligatory portrait of George Washington here, painted by Charles Peale Polk. The clock is quite rare. It's a George Washington clock. There's one at the White House, there's one at Winterthur, I've got one here. I think there are only 7 or 8 of them in existence. Let's take a quick look in the dining room here. In the 1820s and 30s, it was very fashionable to have a so-called parade of rooms. We have a lot of rooms that run together. I think classical architecture is part of our heritage. Stood the test of thousands of years at a time. That is our heritage in America. This, by the way, is original color. The colors got more vivid. The English Regency period was using very bright red and green colors. But Gore Vidal used to have this as his dining room here. It was very articulate and dominate discussions usually. When he would hear a train coming, he would say, turn to his guest, now tell me about your life. And a train would roar by and drown the person out. Something quite satisfying about finding something beautiful and bringing it back, not only to its original glory, but maybe making it a little bit better. This is my favorite room because of the light. It's like sitting on a porch outside. Gore Vidal did all his writing here. I do my writing here. So it seems to be conducive to writing in here. Right behind you here, Little Master Montgomery. It looks like a Goya painting of a little boy in red. It belonged to Daisy Suckley, cousin of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. She sort of had a crush on FDR, and she and Franklin Roosevelt used to come here during World War II and sit on the big porch of the columns. And so, thank you, Daisy Suckley. It's very nice. It's a nice room to be in. But I like them all. Always when I come to Edgewater, there's something very healing about being here. There's something timeless about it, and I've learned so much about the history of this property. It just helps put everything in perspective. I'd say it's like a little Shangri-La here.
Coming up, a private meadow in the Manhattan sky. The hall has holes, and the walls have graffiti. But walk up the stairs of this $9 million penthouse and enter a field of wildflowers.
If I were to think of creating my dream home, it would be this. You are on top of the city in downtown Greenwich Village. You feel like you're hidden, but on top of it all. So here, as you enter the space, you're greeted with this amazing mural. This was a piece that was commissioned by a legendary graffiti artist, Doze Green. The owner is the president of Third Ward. It's an art collaborative he runs, so he's very much involved with the art scene. So as you enter the space into the grand room here, we are in the kitchen area with this great table that comfortably fits 18 people. And this table was one tree. It was hoisted from outside. It's 1,000 pounds and carved in the house.
So just off of the main living space, and this is the private wing of the home. And you come to this, the master bathroom, which is definitely one of the most spectacular bathroom walls I have ever seen. This is a living plant wall. It gets the light that it needs from the skylight above, and there's an irrigation system that's in here. So you could really come in here and feel like you're showering in a rainforest. I've never seen a home that went to this amount of effort to create literally the perfect ecologically friendly space. When you're here, you feel like you're in nature, in the city, which is a really, really unique thing. Welcome to the roof. Definitely one of the most spectacular roof decks that I've ever seen in New York City. If you look around you when you stand here, there are no other buildings. So here, instead of someone looking in on you, you really feel like it's a private urban oasis.
You could actually shower in complete privacy on a New York City rooftop, which is
Pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
This area, I think of the bulkhead as sort of like the crown of the apartment. It was a tremendous amount of work to create, and basically it's planted all the way up. And when you get to the top of the bulkhead, it feels like a private observation deck where you can just see the entire city. It's unbelievable. Come up. It literally feels like the city's at your feet, but your soul's in the sky.
Coming up, we get high with a treehouse builder to the stars.
I'm always trying to walk through the forest, find the area, and then look up, and then start climbing up in the trees and finding, oh, that's the spot.
Look up in the Hamptons or Hollywood, you'll see the handiwork of Roderick Romero, a master craftsman who has taken his clients' childhood fantasies to new heights.
Treehouses make me feel like a kid again. Once I get off the ground and I'm back up in a treehouse, I just feel more like enlightened. I just feel happy again. It's like its own, who needs antidepressants when you have a treehouse? I'm Roderick Romero. I'm a treehouse designer, builder, artist. around 1997, I got asked to be part of this big art installation in like a 100-acre forest. And I said, oh, let's do a treehouse. And then the second treehouse was for my brother. And then the third treehouse was for Sting, the musician, and his wife, Trudy Styler, and their family in Italy. And then the fourth one was for Donna Karan, and the fifth one was for Donna Karan. And then Julianne Moore was out on the West Coast talking to Val Kilmer. She's like, oh, I've got the perfect guy. At Val's, you know, I spent 5 months there, and we just had a blast. I guess I've designed and built over 45 tree houses now. Well, the key to my design is hiding the house. I'm always trying to like walk through the forest, find the area, and then look up, and then start climbing up in the trees and finding, oh, that's the spot. I built the house into the platform knowing that I had this kind of giant kind of diamond-shaped structure with 4 trees like in the split, and then I just got inspired by kind of Native American architecture, like the longhouse feel, mixing like a longhouse with like a boat feel that, you know, and pointed again out towards the lake. And nature is the architect for me. So here's the interior of the treehouse. Again, it's all vintage, reclaimed lumber from about the 1860s. In the beginning, it was more like, okay, let's create a little culture for, you know, for the children and a place to kind of chill out up in the trees. And then they're so into like movie night. And so we kind of came up with this idea. So then it's movie night. Check out one of the last features of this treehouse. It's this crazy trap door. Inside the cargo net. This is great. 90% of the time I get a phone call. It's like, I've got these grandchildren, or I have these children and they really want a treehouse. And I swear, a year later, it's all the adults are up in the treehouse and the kids are like, hey, let me up.
Up next, a Taj Mahal in the Hamptons. Thomas Britt has been one of Architectural Digest's top 100 designers every year since the list was started. His own home is somewhere between a Taj Mahal and a luxury barn.
The way I decorate, to really explain that, is it's a European approach with a big American swing to it. When you come in, you're looking dead center on the fireplace. I like the fire burning so much that I have it burning even when it's hot, and then pump the air conditioning up so people are comfortable. Or they like it really hot, just have it hot. That's it. Well, we've done projects all over the United States and in Mexico and Canada, 2 of them in India, 1 or 2 in Europe. Then we have these wonderful shells just straight across the mantle. I do not like uptight rooms, people, or environments, any way, shape, or form. I like an air of order, though, at the same time, okay? You got it? Good. Glad you understand. Now we're in the black and white room, which is how I refer to it, because it's simply a mixture of black and white patterns. These beds, which are, I think, quite stunning, bamboo. find this bed on a napkin in Paris. It's covered totally in red leather, and it just soars to the ceiling. I like people feeling good in it. And if people that enjoy it and feel good in it, then I feel good in it. We dine here, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There is a Moroccan tent. Here is the pool pavilion. So now you can meet, this is Ola, and my right arm, Marcelo. So that's that. Next, this pavilion is 2 octagonal rooms and a square room in the center. I did it really as a fantasy pavilion was the whole idea of it. Certain good design is and can be timeless. When I do it, I like to make a statement. You know, all you have to do is just kind of use your head, and you can make a lot of things happen. Just do it. Thank you.